So, tell me a little bit about the warrior style, which is not in direct conflict, but maybe a little opposite.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you know, and that's one of my, not to turn this into a crusade about how these things have been communicated historically by psychologists and trainers like me, but there aren't really any opposites. You know, the joke I always say is there's no yin, yang, and yang, but there are definitely differences, and warriors are a very different style than a romantic because they have a very different sensitivity. Romantics are sensitive to emotion, warriors are sensitive to logic. So now their world is full of logic, which, you know, people, I think when we call someone sensitive, we assume that's emotional sensitivity, and really everybody is sensitive. They're just sensitive to different things. But I don't think we're as familiar with what logical sensitivity looks like. And logical sensitivity to me is almost like efficiency. It's a person that wants to get her done, wants to get to the end result in the most expeditious way possible. How do I get to the payoff quickly? So, you know, when you think about a person who's walking into a room and they're logically oriented, which means I'm trying to get the end result as quickly as possible, trying to get the value for this experience as rapidly as possible, they tend to not mince a lot of words. They're very direct, purposeful. Their questions are very short and pointed. Their answers are very short and pointed. They're not going to engage in conversation unrelated to the purpose of being here, because that's just going to take longer.
Not small talk.
Not chatty Cathy.
Right.
Typically, no, because, you know, unless there would be a value to that, but typically there's not. Typically, I'm not here to make a friend. I'm not here to learn about your weekend, Mr. Salesperson. I want an appliance, you know.
Right.
So let's get right to it. So unlike the romantic who's building a relationship because I want you to know who I am and I want to know who you are because that's how emotionally I'm most comfortable. The warrior is, I just want to get a refrigerator and get out of here as quickly as possible. So, you know, often warriors will not even request assistance or not even, you know, kind of be openly receptive. They'll tend to walk with a purpose right to where they're headed in hopes that they can identify in their mind the person who has the most ability to tell me what I need to know quickly, instead of getting someone who's going to chat me up and ask these questions, which is wasting my time. So whereas the romantic walks into the store and probably looks very open and smiling and, you know, come help me, you know, whoever. The warrior might have a more furrowed brow, more purposeful walk, and maybe multitasking. You know, part of that is to maximize their productivity, and part of that is, frankly, you know, don't mess with me. You know, it's a protective device to keep an incompetent salesperson from approaching me. They may appear a little hurried. They may be, you know, like I said, resist assistance. All these things are very common.